Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Right. So welcome to the first panel session for today. We're gonna talking about the IAM and zero trust, but let's get back a little bit the situation here in Thailand and actually around the world. As many organizations are driving the digital transformation and going digital and being competitiveness and leveraging the use of advanced technology like AI, for example, and things like that. One of the things that has been raised as a concern is cyber attack. And from the stats that from last year, from cybersecurity insiders, saying that 80% of the whole cyber attack came from insider. And that's raised a concern a lot because it leap jump from 2022 around 50%, so basically like double. And this become a concern. So how can we leveraging our advanced technology for trying to close this gap, because otherwise it may introduce it to the risk like data leak, which could be objected to the legal penalties like PDPA or something like that. So today we are going to discuss about this. So let's go to the first question. Yeah. What are the most significant trends and challenges that you face in the insider threat landscape, and how have your organization adapt for addressing this risk? So who first, Guy?
Yeah, I can go first. Thank you. So in general, in terms of the timing, it's like a very interesting timing because I think like 2.5 weeks, we have an interesting incident in Coinbase, while an attacker was basically didn't need to exploit the organization. He just like give a bribe to a third party, and by giving the bribe, he was able to collect a lot of information, PII information, and then like authorities jump on Coinbase. There is like a huge penalty, and it's like really interesting how to see the shifts. Like we are trying to protect all the organization, and then suddenly there is like kind of simple technique that somebody bribes someone to collect the data. Fortunately, due to the report, Coinbase also had a very good detection around it. They were able to identify that there is like kind of insider threat activity. They close it down, but by the time they act, a lot of information was already out. So again, it's really interesting to see how attackers are shifting all the time the techniques. Going back to your question, we keep seeing this word evolve and evolve. I think that the previous presentation, even for it was mostly on Thai, but based on the slides, really touched on a lot of aspects. Going back to the evolution, we see that AI is becoming more adapted on many organizations. But the other side of it is that attackers are also using this to trick other organizations. So if to look like globally, it's like a lot of layers that you need to think how you can block them. But definitely it's become like kind of sophisticated and more evolved, and we keep always needs to make the pulse and making sure that we are on track.
All right, so bright and the leveraging the use of technology like AI, so we need to closely monitor and tackle on time. So what about your thought, CISO?
There are challenges and opportunities. I think when you speak about insider threat and cybersecurity, I think I'll start with the opportunity part, because I think in today's world, people are much aware of cyber threats. I mean, there's a lot of talking about this, not just within the organizations. I think generally people are more aware. I think social media and even the advent of emerging technologies has helped in creating the awareness. I think that's one of the important things. I think the second, as a challenge, I think the key challenge is to connect the dots. We have cloud and AI and emerging technologies. And I picked up that word hacking the human from before presentation. So I think it's become much easier today to hack the humans than to hack the infrastructure. So I think to create that awareness from the board down to the to your employees is very critical, and that's a challenge. And I think linking that to the technologies that you are implementing to protect your organization. So I think this is very important. The second point is, in the past you had a control on the environment. So today, with hybrid workforce, you don't control where your technology resides, where your employees work from. I think this is also the way to explain to the management why zero trust is important, why situational security is important, because you don't control all the situations. So I think it's very important to have that top level conversation, board level conversation, and then take it as a top-down approach, when you are taking cybersecurity and insider threats.
Yeah, so mostly protect the human, right? So human is too easy to hack sometimes. And don't forget that sometimes it's not our employee only. It could be our suppliers. It could be our families, our kids, for example. It's too easy to hack, right? So what's your thought, Kundon?
You've made a great point. It's not only employee, and that's all your contractors and everything. Based on my experience, when you're talking about insider threats, it's a mix of lack of awareness or perhaps like carelessness of an insider, like not exactly malicious intent, and and that those that try to actually do something bad as well. I think we need to when it comes to IAM and zero trust, I think continuous monitoring that would be really helpful for an organization to monitor and take action when it is necessary. Yeah, and security awareness as well.
Yeah, so you guys can hear from all the panelists here that when we talk about insider threat, it's mostly human factor, so we need to address them. It's not only our employees, let's say. So we focus on awareness training. So this is something that once started, never stop, right? And we keep doing it. There's no objection saying that, oh, why we need to do awareness training, why we need to invest on that. This is something that, okay, there would be not a monetary ROI, but is really reducing the risk greatly, especially from the human factor. Moving next to the next question. So we talk about human. Now we are going to talk about technology itself. Yeah. So how can advanced IAM? IAM is like the identity management and zero trust technology. So zero trust, for those who don't know, is always verify, never trust. Yeah. So let's say if you are going to use applications, it's always challenge you somehow. It could be username password, could be MFA, could be just CAPTCHA, for example. So how these technologies will be used to close the gap and combat the insider threats? And can you recommend the approach that you found it very effective to use in your organization? So maybe go to Chicho first this time.
Yes, I think it also, when you deploy these technologies, I think the most important part is you decide what are the touch points with the users with these technologies. So I spoke about why we deploy these technologies. So if I take an example of MFA, we follow the policies say that password is no more secure, and there are so many material around it why it is not secure, and hence MFA. So it's not only that you enable MFA, it's also part of your technology evaluation process as well, that you are bringing in technologies that are compatible those security standards. The second point is when you are doing a change management and when you are having that touch point with the end user with these technologies, it's very important that they understand and the touch point is communicated so that it's not considered as a privacy breach to the employees. And especially we had a case when one of the employees traveled to US, and the moment he landed, and switched on the email. One of the SOC team members, the security team members, was on the chat with him, asking, "Are you really in US?" Now, that is a situational security running very well, which is completely new, but at the same time, it overwhelmed the user. Are you monitoring me? So I think it's very important you manage both. It's an example of a good situational security and how modern technologies are working, but at the same time, you should be training your security team, how do you actually communicate with the user, which is also very important. So I think there are multiples, but I would let others also comment on this.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Shijo. So from the, what can I say, agriculture company. So let's move to like property. So we are still talking from the non-tech, yeah, keeping the tech the last one. So Kundon, what's your thought?
Well, I mean, like we encountered like the same issue as well, like where some of our management like went abroad, and our SOC team like reached out to them, and like for some reason, they kind of like had a doubt, like, am I doing something wrong? Are you guys monitoring me? Like, what happened? Something like that. So it was an interesting experience, and I think like Zero Trust and IAM like really helped a lot, because like back in the days, like if you don't have like Zero Trust or continuous monitoring, you just like either have a SOC team monitoring like irregularities, and then you just have to reach out like every single time. But then like with dynamic like risk assessment, you can like increment like trust or identity verification is needed. So like let's say if you don't require MFA, like say in corporate office, like once you're outside, you could require an MFA. And then afterward, like if you are really in like an unusual location, you can enforce like a FIDO or perhaps like something else that is stronger. So the key is that it allows security team to bring good experience to users, and it will bring less resistance while maintaining the same posture.
Yeah, so when we talk about choosing the technology that we're going to use for our organization, it's always need to think about our people. Yeah, so change management would be very key. So we have the input from two non-tech already. So now go to the tech, which is, I'm sure that we're going to have something different from here. So Guy?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm mainly smiling because as a tech company, we adapt like 2FA many years back. And there was like a lot of friction point. Like the touch point that both colleagues just share is really, really important for us. And we measure it by friction. What this means is that at the end of the day, we should simplify their access, however, keep it much more secure. So the way that we decide to go with this approach is that we shift completely to passwordless, and we use mainly FIDO or Touch ID or Windows Hello, and this basically simplify the friction of having the phone next to you to approve it, but it also gives us much more secure because it's very, very complicated to break it. I think previously we also discussed a little bit about contractors, which is also a risk. And for us, what we did, which something that we couldn't do with the employees, is that we provide them a secure browser. So basically for them, they have to use a secure browser to access our application. Without that, they cannot do it. But for the employee, the way that we solve it, we use an extension for that. So for that, for us to solve it, it's like we're doing the same thing, but always taking in mind the touch point with the users. We cannot impact friction, we cannot impact productivity, but we must be secured.
I'm sure it's never be fun if our organization will be on the news, like the headlines tomorrow that's saying, oh, we have a personal data leak from insider, right? And talking about this, even we talk about the technology, we talk about the people, so now go to the process, yeah? So in order to adapt this kind of new technologies and even trying to train people for awareness training, what process in organization that has to be adapted, and how would you convince the senior management for deploying this new policy or new process in place, making it in place? So this time go to Kundon first.
Okay, like the first things first that I want to do is to make sure that whatever implementation that we're going to do does not work against our users. So they must be able to get their work done, because people are very creative. They'll find like workarounds just because you enact like some security policies or security processes. People will find workarounds just so that they could get their work done. So that's like one of the first things that I'll focus on. And after that, it is talking to the management, like securing like support, like from, as Kun Kao from the previous session said, like get all the support from top to bottom. And I would also like to add that if you're a traditional like non-tech company, securing like support like from your top management is really important, and it is really helpful to have them like as a trailblazer to be one of the first people who use like FIDO token to get into company system, and with that in place, resistance will be much lower.
All right, now go to Shijo.
Yeah, I think there are many points around awareness, but some of the recent learnings in terms of how you keep that culture of security awareness is, I think you need to make your HR, your communications team, the leads in security awareness, not always IT. So I think one of the key things that you can do is security awareness built into your organization's overall training calendar or training plan for the year? I think that's very important. So when you publish. The second learning or experience is also, a lot of people say that, oh, there's nothing new in your training. It's all the same stuff that you're talking. It's also important to make people understand security awareness is also around a lot of repetition and reminders, not always about new things. I think this is very important. The third thing is, when we think about security awareness, it's always about attending a course online or spending 5 minutes. So can you think about awareness in different ways? Like we have, phishing alert. So can we have, when HR conducts a monthly session for people in the office, can we have somebody talking about an IT person and a user who reported and how they cracked the entire thing and they, that situation was handled. So there's, small kind of 2 minutes discussion on how that was handled. Can you get somebody to your office? Because we always speak about security from a digital perspective, but for example, can you enact a physical security case in our office? Somebody walks into the office and, it takes out confidential information, and during the lunch break in your cafeteria comes and says, what we actually could do, and how you need to be careful. So I think you are shocking people sometimes, so they all wake up, oh, we need to be a little careful. You need to be repetitive. That is also very important. And I think you need to be innovative. Don't make it very long. Try to keep small snippets of awareness. I think those are general things, when it comes to change management around security awareness.
Yeah, thank you. I saw you would really like to speak now.
No, so basically I think both of you cover most of them, and I do agree that every company should have a very strong awareness program. Also for us, we have kind of like a reward and championship, and we monitor most of the data. Another thing that we found very, very interesting is that, as you mentioned, users are reporting on email phishing with other awareness platform. But if you don't feedback back and you don't tell them, oh, this was clean, this was phish, this was malicious, they feel that there is no reason to do that. And then they lose the focus on tracking those. And this is like what we build automate with Gen AI, that basically every employee that report to us will get automatically a message back in a few seconds that, hey, thank you very much for reporting us. This message is clean, you can keep interact with it, or this is fish or malicious, please delete it from your system.
So it has to be two ways, yeah? So
Yeah, we have to have the feedback together with our.
and we engage the reward program, yeah?
Correct.
Right. So talking about this, how many organization has the reward program for reporting? Raise your hand. Oh, we have one. Uh-oh. So something to think about, right? Because people are, okay, it's a general thing that people are shy to report. So just engaging them, making the campaign effective, that means we need the cooperation because they are the one that see things in operation in the front line. We never see that always because we are, okay, sitting in different locations. We may, or they may also working from somewhere else, like traveling or things like that. From my direct experience, we need to build the close relationship with all levels. So senior management, yes, top, that's the first person, so maybe trying to hang out with him or something like that. And also, not only that, but also the shop floor or the store operator as well. So we have like a number of cases where personally I got reported from somebody who was trying to like doing unintentional data leakage because they might get incentive from someone else, like, yeah, I would not like to say the bribery or something like that, but, or maybe unintentional, yeah. So, and talking about technologies, how many people, organization here leveraging cloud?
It's not a question anymore.
Almost everybody, yeah. So I'm going to be surprised that nobody, I mean, the organization that not using cloud these days. And how many organizations using AI these days? Oh, quite a lot too, yeah. So talking about this advanced technology, how would you think we can control the data access from this kind of advanced technology like the AI, for example? Because we are talking about awareness training or protecting the human factor, but AI is not human. How would we make sure that the data will not leak from AI itself that we're leveraging in the company? So maybe Guy?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. At our organization, what we did, it was less from this angle, but slowly we start to develop on top of it, is that we build an AI gateway. The motivation behind the AI gateway is slowly to adapt more and more new LLM models instead of like connecting different systems. So we have one AI gateway that we connect all the provider, and then it's give us like kind of visibility on top of it to see what is going on from the side of the user and from the like input and output. So this way we have a way to control. On top of it, there are the known guardrails that you can enable on every model. And on the AI gateway, we enable our own guardrails based on the context. Why based on the context? Because it depends each service and its purpose. So it could be like different if you have like a bot or agent that do a reservation, or you have an agent that just do a simple operation, the guardrails will be differently. So it's very important to learn from this context and centralize it, because decentralized will be very complicated to maintain and to operate.
So it's more about centralizing control, yeah?
Yes.
Before we move on to the two guys, I would like also input from the participants here again. We were talking about how many organizations using AI, I mean, all of you guys. How many organizations that prohibit the usage of public AI? No ChatGPT, no Gemini, nothing in the company, except the paid one. Oh, okay, we have few one. So the rest, you are allowing people to use like the free version, yeah? So talking about how to safeguard our data, right? So in your opinion, Chijo, how would you prevent, or is your organization allowed to use the free ChatGPT things?
So I think we first start with a governance framework, I would say, around AI. Now, that can never be perfect, but I think it's very important to have some starting point and also an alignment with at your board level and management level. We can make everyone happy and satisfied. So you need to make choices, right? What do you want to allow? Okay, do you want Gemini versus ChatGPT versus Copilot? I think technology decisions is important. Then there are some other aspects like, do you allow meeting transcription, meeting recording, these kind of things. I think it's very important to have a high level understanding with the management. So that would put in certain restrictions in terms of what we use and what we do not use. We are a Google workspace company, so we have a standard that we use Gemini. Okay, so then it gives a leverage to us to have some restrictions on every other things, and then other technologies are allowed on a use case basis. So I think governance is the first aspect. Then comes, we also treat AI as any other technology adoption. It's very important. IT needs to think that way. And you start promoting use cases for AI. Identify the use case, work with that business. So today we run around 14 to 15 use cases of AI with legal function, with communication functions. And when it comes to use cases, we go beyond Gemini as well and see, okay, there is advantage in adopting, an alternate platform to satisfy that use case. So I think use cases are becoming quite relevant. And when we roll out the use cases, say for example, we rolled this out in legal function to manage their documents, to search their documents. So we train them, they undergo the training, they undergo the policy verification before we actually enable it for them. So I think, to me, the key point is don't try to differentiate AI as something else. It's another emerging technologies. Treat it the same way as any other technology that you are deploying within the organization.
Okay, cool. That's very good. Starting with the governance framework and drive from that down. So is it the same with your organization, Kundon?
Well, I think it's trying to find the right balance between governance and innovation. Because with the AI hype, or if I may say so, everything that's going on, users want to try everything. They want to experiment. They want to do everything to innovate for the company, or perhaps make their lives a little easier. And sometimes they do things that are out of your control or out of your visibility. So yes, governance is important. And another thing that I would like to add on is the creating the awareness and open environment where they get to come and talk to those who could make a decision or give the right recommendation when they want to experiment with something new. Because we have seen a lot of good use cases that we have never thought of, on tools that we have never heard of from our own users. And most of the time, when they come to us, we have evaluate all the risks and everything. So that's the culture that we are trying to encourage at our shop.
That's very good. So we are talking about AI, but at the end, you can see that most of the panelists saying that it's still back to human, right? Because AI cannot be operated without human as well. And even we develop AI in-house, so our developer would be also a key point to raise the awareness, because saying that IT people and developers are really naughty boys most of the time. They are mostly the one who introduced the shadow IT. So let's say they are doing things without reporting to us, right? So we need to make friends with them, make sure they are not going over naughty, too naughty. Talking about people, now we are talking about outsiders. So let's say suppliers or contractors, or even something maybe the partners, right? How could we control their access to our data, especially the confidential data or sensitive data? So in some cases, when I I plan to go to vacation next month. I usually go to one website that really being popular for booking hotel.
Agoda?
And when I go to the hotel itself, I have question always in my mind. How would they safeguard my information not being leaked from the hotel itself? Any inputs on it? I'm not mentioning the website name, yeah?
So as I shared before, the way that we making sure that suppliers that accessing to sensitive application, they have like kind of control. It's not like they can access it from any computer. So there is a control for that. But going back to contractors, so this is like a very interesting topic because when we see the last bridges in the world, even Okta had like 2 or 3 bridges mainly because of a third party of customer support. So we have to make sure that those companies that are integrated on our system are in control, on our control, not like, okay, I'm getting like a service from third party, he is responsible for him, I'm trusting him. So going back to the statement of never trust, always verify, treat your supplier the same way. Make sure that the supplier is doing what needs to do in order to protect your information, our information.
Okay, just changing a topic a little bit. So I think it's time for each of you to do things like what the key deliverable that you would like to mention about this topic, yeah, leveraging the IAM and zero trust and trying to address people, process, technology in this uncertain world, right? So any wrap-up key points? So starting from you first, Kandon.
Well, I think identity access management is like the backbone for cybersecurity posture for an organization. So that's something that one should really focus on. And with AI and everything, it's going to be like on both sides, on the offense and defense. So leverage it and keep yourself up to date, or at least like buy the tools that will help you keep up to date, because it's changing like every so often. Yeah.
Shijo?
Yes, I think it just, other than what we spoke, I think it's one of the points I also want to highlight is when you link all these strategies around, whether it is identity access management, it's zero trust, I think the back end of all this is also how we are linking and monitoring all this, right? So all these individual technologies are giving you outputs, you have cases configured, but it's also very important how you link and monitor that and arrive at the right use case. So this is very important, and probably one point I missed as well. But I think the general things are, it keeps evolving, so you need to keep on tap. Look away from the traditional way of training, look at more dynamic and interesting way of creating awareness within the organization. I think we spoke about a lot of these things. Keep a lot of importance on the governance. You need to keep your board, you need your management aware at what level you need to know and why you need to, to do that. I think that's very important. And one point is keep your teams updated, training, because it's changing so much. You are moving from infrastructure to now everything is, once you move to cloud, there's no infrastructure. It's all about security then. So I think keeping your team also updated is very important, from a technology perspective.
Thank you very much. And lastly, Guy, so it has to be in short.
So to add to Don's point, I think that it's a good and very, very right point, because the identity become the new perimeter for us. We need to make sure that it's well protected. And again, going to the main topic, the human factor is still the weak factor. So the best way to try to improve in this area is awareness. And from our side, in the technology side, we need to make sure that even if I'm making a mistake, there is always a technology control that will block it.
Yeah, thank you. And for me, I would like to say something different. First thing first, in short, know yourself, right? Using the mirror, see your current situation. What's your driving factor to do the control? And then we scope what to control. So we do something like data classification. We do like seeing assets, yeah? What kind of safeguard and asset that we need to do the safeguard, and we apply the different controls onto them. So let's say things like that. And then thirdly is like to complement you guys, human factor. So think about tomorrow, we're gonna have headlines saying our organization being data leak. Always think like that. That will drive our self-motivation not to get caught, okay? So thinking from the bad guys in. So now we are going to Q&A session. Do we have any questions from the audience?
This is good.
If you have any questions, just raise your hand, please.
Thanks for your time this morning. My question's regarding BYOD, bring your own device. With IAM and Zero Trust, are your organizations moving away from those policies or becoming more strict or putting in more controls?
I think moving away is not a choice anymore. I think we are in hybrid. On the other side, our personal experience is it's increasing. I would not specifically use the word BYOD, but I think the situations where we work and the endpoints that we use are actually increasing. So I think we have to focus more on the situational security rather than trying to control every device. I think that's the future anyway. I think this is also why security at hybrid environment is very important. I think that is, and this is what IAM and Zero Trust is enabling, right? So you are taking the security to the endpoint. So also endpoint security has now become a big vertical itself, and that's because you are no more controlling the endpoint, but you need to ensure that you have the same security posture irrespective of which endpoint it is and where it is. I think these two are important.
We are taking a little bit different approach. We decide to break it down. Mobile for us, we see it as a less risk. However, from the laptop or PC device, we do see a big risk. Therefore, we decide that we slowly blocking it, okay? We are not going to manage it because it's too much operation. At the end of the day, it's the employee personal device. He wants to run pirate games. He wants to hack something. We don't want to take the responsibility on this. And therefore, we decide to block this option.
Well, in my case, I would say it depends. The thing is that within our organization, we have frontline workers who may not have like a corporate-owned devices and everything. And as we digitize more processes, and they would need to use their own devices, or probably like in many cases unapproved devices. So for those users, we manage our risk accordingly. But for our enterprise, yes, we would still require like that devices are managed by us.
Yeah, for me, I think it depends on what type of role they are doing and the confidentiality that they are dealing with. So in some cases, like if they are working in like the design area, product design, for example, we need to put extra control. Like we will not seize a mobile phone, but we allow them to use, but cannot turn on the data, for example, and cannot turn on the cameras, for example, or we might need to apply the MDM solutions so that we can control and we can monitor. So things like that, yeah. Any other questions? Very quick one, very quick. Quick.
This is more to Gaia, Agoda, because you do online transactions. The last few months, I think there's a lot of, and I myself was probably a victim, when we do online transactions. So you do 2FA, you do online apps, you do the online apps, especially now, so you were correct. But right after you buy something online, a couple of seconds right after it, you do have multiple transactions that you bought. So is it the problem of the encryption between, like example, Agoda apps and the banking system or whatever? And do you have any solutions or more security to how to prevent this?
So again, it's for me like it's a little bit complicated to answer it because again I need like a little bit data to understand this thing, but it's not a secret. And again, I'm talking about general. I'm not talking about specific Agoda. It's not a secret that there is a lot of opportunity to do frauds in the online market, and I guess this is like kind of those situation. But it's like it's by definition in the online industry. It's easy to fraud other customers based on information that they are able to collect, but I don't think it's related to specific company. It's an industry problem. It's not specific to a company.
All right, so I think it's time. Thank you very much, all the experts here who share the insights from the real world perspective. And thank you very much for all of you. And thank you very much for the organizer to have this panel session. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and we would like our moderator and panelists to take pictures together on stage, please.